Today on Pub Wisdom, we discuss men and women and relationships, and the Kardashians and what they've done to all their men. All right. Welcome to another edition of Pub Wisdom.
Good day. Good day.
Good day.
How's it going, eh? Good day. Hey, take off, you hoser. Whoa. Careful now.
Going to the Great White North, eh?
Take off to the Great White North. That's
one of your favorite guys, right?
Geddy Lee impersonation. Thank you very much.
All right. So we were talking a little earlier, and we were getting on the subject of men, women, dating. And technically, we're all single guys here, so and we all have various experiences of dating in this new age. Shit.
Where to start?
Saw me freeze up for a minute there.
It's
just like this. Check engine lights on.
It's a struggle.
Well, it's just different. It's a different age. It's a different time. You know, there's a lot more technology out there, and some of it's for better, some of it's for worse.
Agreed.
Some of it's for both at the same time.
I think so.
It's put life in perspective. In a
Social media in general has gotten out of control.
The use of it has.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that social media is an addiction machine, and there's a little dopamine hit every time you get a like, whatever. It drives that, and it drives you back to that device every time. And people will, well, if I do this, then I get so many more likes. Oh, if I get so many more followers, and let's face it, a follower is not a follower. A follower is someone who clicks on a freaking button for you.
Well, yeah, but the thing is it's more than that, okay? Because you get a certain amount of followers, and now you start getting advertisements. Now you start getting paid. It's now monetized. So now on your side, that
greater innovation.
So I don't think it's a weapon of like mass destruction.
It's not intentional,
like per se. You know.
No, it's not intended to destroy people or destroy society. It's just a machine that built itself.
I still use it for things I've always been interested in, but.
Yeah, I always say we have smart devices in our pockets, and we've got the access to the world's information at our fingertips. Why not use that smartphone to make you smarter? But I mean, there was also very early on, after smartphones became widespread, there was a commercial of smart people using, people using smartphones to do dumb things. It was all the goofy things they use the phones for.
Yeah, for sure.
And unfortunately, that's what smartphones end up being is. A conduit to dumb shit.
Which I really enjoy. I enjoy watching all this stuff.
There's entertainment value in it too, yeah.
Well, we use our cell phone devices to log on to dating apps. I've done many over the years. Our cell phones and our laptops we use for dating.
Yeah, I've tried it.
Facebook has a dating wing on it. If people didn't know about that, I find somewhat more useful because A, it's free, and B, Facebook knows more about you than any dating site ever will because of the information they grab. Let's face that, right? And they link you with friends of friends and kind of put you in they're also on that dating service. But so some mild, moderate success with that. But I mean, I think some of the problem is like at my age, I'm in mid-40s, right? And at my age, I've realized my value has actually kind of gone up in the market and. Starting to understand that, and it's not just the age of wisdom I've come to, but it's also the fact that I'm a calmer, more stable human being. I've kept myself in relatively good shape, so that's also a bonus. But that's not what women look for. They want someone who's calm. They want someone who can provide and protect. And man's role in that sense has never changed. Provider, protector. Those are the two main things women want, and they want a leader too, which is a bigger issue with on the male side of things. Is that leadership, that alpha male kind of stuff, which is what
they try to take
attracted
that away.
to.
Yeah,
society's trying to make masculinity look like a bad thing when actually it's not. True masculinity is not a bad thing. What people nowadays are attempting is a poor form of it, which is false masculinity, which is adult age adolescents acting out who aren't real men. And their temper tantrums are childish, and that is not masculinity.
Yeah, no, if you can't have control of your emotions, you know, they call it emotional management. And that's a big thing like men have to learn. And you gotta be able to control your emotions and make, you know, appropriate decisions and things to carry forward and make things happen, you know. Our job has always been to hunt and to take care and to protect, you know. And to me, you know, I'm not saying it is in today's world so much, but and it is more attractive to me though, a woman who wants to nurture and care and play that woman side of
more
things,
feminine
you
roles,
know.
yes.
Yeah, I appreciate
Again, when
feminism.
society has kicked back on that, and it's like, why? I understand that there's certain gaps that they want to overcome, and that's fine too, but oddly enough, I was alluding to earlier, prior to recording here, I was actually listening to an audiobook of Plato's Republic. So we're talking about 2,400 years ago, this very discussion was talked about in terms of male roles and female roles and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And they understood back then there was a varying range between what men are good at and what women are good at, and there was some overlap. And as they're trying to develop their new idea of what a republic is, they had overlap, but they were setting up all kinds of rules. I haven't gone through it all yet, but it's been one of my latest ventures into old philosophies, is going all the way back to Plato's Republic. But it's nothing new, and people think this is like a new thing, but it's amplified and made highly aware because our devices keep us connected now.
Well, you know, it's just crazy because I see these fake videos of lumberjacks, you know, never cut down a tree in their whole life, but they put on a outfit they got off Amazon for $30 and then grab an axe and then take photos and like, but yet you wouldn't want the actual women don't want the actual lumberjack no more. They would rather have the fake lumberjack just because they got that sweet photo.
The idea of the masculine. I mean, it's an idea of a masculine man, right? And it's the lumberjack.
But it's a false front, really.
It is.
Yeah, and so it's like the values thing. I think it all comes down to values. You know, what do you value as a human? And do you value that protection and that thing there? You know, what men can bring you. I don't really know how to label that or call that in today's society.
We have this idea in current society that men and women are equal, and quite honestly, evaluating things like races.
I think they're equal. I just think they serve two different parts.
And that's where I'm going with it, is equals but opposites, right? We don't fulfill the same roles. The yin and the yang is a pretty good symbol for that, right? They're equals and opposites.
Like, I need you to make me a sandwich sometimes. make me a sandwich.
Give me that beer, woman.
Give me a
So
beer.
that's what you put on your dating profile, sandwich maker.
Shit, we
Gotta
just
find me one of them.
Beer fetcher.
So if there's any women out there that
Fetch me a beer.
like to grab beers and make sandwiches, this guy's looking for you.
Stop it. No, I'm just kidding. Like, seriously.
I'm sure you'll provide and protect for that woman.
It is there's something to it, you know? It's not about I don't think it's even about the sandwich. I think it's about that you can make me something every day from the heart.
Well, okay, what you're saying there in a very general term is you're looking for someone that could bring something to the table. And that's a question I've seen posed when people like take to the streets and ask all these little hottie-toddy girls is like, well, what do you want in a man? And they go through all this list, and they have this really list of high demands of what they want in a man. But then he turns around and asks them, what do you bring to the table? And they're like, they don't have a good answer.
Well, they always have one good answer.
Okay, you're hot now, but you know what? In 20 years, 10, 15 years, you may not be hot, and guess what? There's going to be another young hot one coming in to replace him. And that's the problem. Women have the advantage when they're young, and men have the advantage when they get older. And
Right, that's the yin yang.
so, yeah, and that's a balance in the world. Because I remember being in my 20s trying to date all those women. First of all, I didn't have the skill set to even talk to them properly.
Yeah,
Like, go a sure hot, you know, it's like.
I was an idiot when I was like
And,
21.
And I'm still
hey,
struggling,
you know,
to get a good job, make decent money, and it was like, I didn't have all that stuff. I was in great shape. I looked good, but, but it was like, I didn't have the skill sets, right? But as I'm older, it's like, nah, I have no problem talking to a woman, and it's not a big deal. And then, but I don't know, there's a shift there, but I have noticed that like certain women will just start coming in and start talking to you. I'm like, hey, this is kind of nice. And I've summed up the whole dating. I think I'm floating around here a little bit, different points, but we can come back to any one of them. I've summed up recently the whole idea of dating, and I think into two simple aspects. And we can get into how these aspects are balance out and the nuances of them. I say dating is like this: women have choice and don't know what they want. Men know what they want, but we don't have much choice. And that's kind of where it boils down to, because men have to approach the women, and the women sit there and the men approach them so they can choose, but they don't really know what they want, and they end up choosing wrong, and then they complain where all the good men are at. You know, and then men, on the other hand, we're fighting
Well, it's
to get
crazy.
the
'Cause
attention of the woman we
some-
want, but we're lost in the noise of all these asshole guys coming in and clogging up the system, right?
You know, and I'm not saying I'm better than fucking Joe Schmo, but I see some girls start like dating guys that they be doing mad drugs and just like out of control, and like to me, I find embarrassing. I find embarrassing if I can even be around them sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's like
The women and the men like
it's
that.
like I don't understand what women. You know, that's a question for a woman. Maybe when we have a woman on the show or something. You know,
Sounds like we need to have a woman on the show.
Why?
But yeah, I mean,
And then she'll walk in and I'll be like,
Dan still needs to learn how to talk to
yeah,
women. Poor guy.
I'm kind of slow.
But yeah, that's something that is just mind-boggling to me. And that's what the values thing, I think. You know, it just doesn't have to do with social media either. You know.
And social media's like amplified the whole aspect where women have more choice, right? And then it's not only that, but we were talking about before about how they can monetize that, right? And women can monetize their looks, and you can just do something simple on a TikTok or whatever form of social media they want. And there are forms that are directly for that, and that's what women can do. It incentivizes that, and then yet they end up getting out of that age range where they're no longer desirable, and then they're wondering what the hell. But in addition to that, they probably also are underdeveloped in the communication aspect of how to deal with a man, and they don't have any of the skills they need to keep a man around. So there's a social aspect of it, and there's a mental aspect of it, and then there's actually being able to physically do shit, you know, and I think that there's a lot of women that, you may have the looks, honey, but you're not bringing anything to the table, honestly.
Yep, that's like my biggest pet peeve. If you're over 30 years old, you should know how to cook. You should just know how to cook some food. At least basic.
Honestly, when you graduate high school, you should use these basic things. And, but yeah, that could be coming from parental, parents not teaching their kids on the way out, and there's aspects of that I get it, you know, as parents, we're so bogged down in the day-to-day life that it's hard to teach your kids just the basic skills sometimes, and schools are demanding everything else, but I struggle as a parent myself to raise daughters that way, but I feel like that in the end they're going to be better off than most.
For sure.
But the flip side is, I mean, damn it, man. I mean, men aren't growing up either, and men aren't given the trials they need. And every ancient, even tribal group, they have initiation rituals for men, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there that initiates men or boys into men, and as a result, you end up with these guys that they're not driven, there's no desire to go out there and do anything, and they're complacent and sitting home playing video games and not doing anything, not contributing to society. Nobody's kicking them in their ass to do something. I'm not saying that all younger guys are like that, but I think there's others, I mean, there's some out there that are great. I mean, I've seen some very good young guys out there. It's like, these guys are gonna do good, but there's a whole lot more of them out there that I think need a lot more help, and I don't know. So, I mean, the number of people in the 16 to 20-year-old range right now that have no desire to even get a driver's license.
Yeah,
To
no,
me,
that
that
is
was the
true.
ultimate ticket
I
to freedom.
have a couple friends.
That's a growing thing.
I
That's
have a
crazy
couple
to me.
friends. I have a couple friends who have high school and college age like daughters, and like 21, 22. They still don't have a license. They don't want to drive. It's
Yeah.
you gotta eventually cut the cord, and like you have. It's one thing if you lived in a big city like Chicago or New York where you could just hop on the subway. There's mass gravitation, but in Detroit area you gotta be able to drive in this area.
What do you do for an ID? I don't even know. I mean, there's still state IDs?
Yeah, you can apply
For
that.
sure, there's state IDs,
Oh,
for sure.
I never knew because all I could think of is I was 16 is get that damn license. And
Yeah, I got
15 up. I mean, probably from 13 on up, I wanted a license so I can get a vehicle so I can get out of the house and just go places and do things. But
Yeah, I got a license like 2 months
I
after
mean,
turned
even
16.
that,
What is that?
kids
fucking
can sit
mean?
down and look at a computer all day, or they can, and they don't want to leave. And it's that addiction from these addictive devices that will keep you there, and it'll keep you out of the loop of going out there and doing
Yeah, they're gonna
productive.
program it. And then
I
you don't
mean-
talk to women, or you don't encounter, so it's a huge thing right now with people not having children. Okay, they call it, shucks, I forgot what they call it.
Oh, well,
But,
watch the beginning of Idiocracy.
it's,
I need to watch that one.
The opening scene in Idiocracy will explain a lot of
it's
it.
couples that get together that decide not to have kids
Yeah,
together.
and they're the really intelligent ones that do, right? Those are the ones that
I
really
know a couple couples out there have absolutely no interest in having kids.
Yeah.
None or not whatsoever.
Yeah, to me that's like bad though. Like we need to
They
have
just
more
don't.
kids.
I don't know what.
And we need to combat these other kids that are in that category, the laziness. How do you combat lazy kids? You build strong kids. It's the only way to combat that. Are they just gonna all grow up to be fucking, there's that meme that says, well, what do you do? And it's a girl and she goes, I'm an Instagram model. And what do you do? And the guy goes, I'm a soldier on Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Yeah, that goes hand in hand,
Oh.
I don't know if that's nonsense or I was rambling, but
No, I mean, take those, your Instagram model, okay? Yeah, you're actually a dime a dozen because there's all kinds of them out there, right? I mean, you're a halfway decent, good-looking girl, you can do
There's
that.
a lot of-
women are, and
there's
that's
a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying,
good-looking
women are
girls
meant
out there,
to
though,
be
but-
beautiful. They're meant to attract men.
Okay.
I think so.
But be
I
honest,
think so.
how many times in your life have you met a girl that was extremely attractive? Every guy in the bar or restaurant is tripping and falling.
Yeah,
Or it could be
all the freaking
in,
time.
in a social gathering, it could be a church, whatever. But then you talk to the girl and realize it's like talking to a brick wall. I mean, there's just no substance upstairs either.
I have a theory.
Do you want to date?
No.
Do you want to date and marry a girl like that too? I don't know.
They're not all like that, but I do have a
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying, but how,
No.
have you ever had that encounter?
Oh yeah. So, but I have a theory on that, and my theory is, especially when a girl is born cute, and she's cute as a little girl growing up, people just naturally do things for them.
I don't.
So they don't develop the skills to do things for themselves.
That's what I want
I'm
to touch
struggling
base
with
on.
that with my own daughters myself. I'm like, you're so damn cute, but it's like, and I see this, it's like,
I
I'm harder on
admire
my kids than I are at some other cute kids.
I fucking admire that. Okay, my grandfather never let my grandmother pump gas ever. Whenever he got out of work, he would stop and make sure the car was filled up. And it was until my grandfather passed away a few years back that we learned that she didn't even know how to put gas in her own car. She never had to, and to me that's a glorious thing. It doesn't matter. I don't judge people like by that means, but like I said, you should be able to cook, you should be able to do those things, but just because you don't know a subject or have little to say about something, that doesn't determine your IQ to me, or what level you stand at, what prestige you're at. That doesn't.
And you don't have to be super smart to be a contributor in a relationship either.
Yeah.
And that's something I've come to terms with too. It's like, you know what?
I freaking admire that about my grandfather, that he did that for her, he took care of her
He
so
probably
well.
did a lot of
He
things.
took care of her so well that she didn't know how to do shit.
But you know what though? I'm willing to bet
That's
that.
a different generation.
I'm willing to
That's
bet,
manly to me.
and that's,
Yeah, it's manly.
we can get into gender roles, but whatever, but
Yeah.
I can willing to bet that he did that for her because she did all the things for him that he needed
100%.
on the other end. Where
She probably, in all due respect, she probably did a lot of the cooking and shopping. and
100%.
which is a full-time job in
And,
and of itself.
and it is, and you know, that's the way society used to be, where in most cases the men would work and the women would, you know, raise the children and you know, cleaning, cooking, you know.
Yeah. And no,
But,
they
you
were.
know, and there's been a gradual shift away from that, that's reality. But, you know, back in, you know, many decades ago, that's just the way it was.
Yeah, like you took care of your woman, dude. You, no matter what. There was no bickering or fighting or complaining or nothing. It was no, baby, I got you. You know.
In the healthy relationships. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there was plenty of those that were abused, right? And there was plenty that were
Well, of
taken
course.
advantage of.
Yeah, you got-
Which is- which is where-
Controlling person, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where, but you know what though, those relationships still happen. Like someone's abusive and controlling, it still happen,
100%.
just in a different form now. So, yeah, and we have a different set of freedoms too, where it's a lot easier to end a relationship and a lot more availability out there and move on. But getting back around to trying to get someone modern day and get a good healthy relationship together, it's difficult to do, but I've taken it upon myself to work on myself and become the best possible person I can be, so that when I do finally meet that right person, there's going to be they're going to know it, and I'll know it too, but there's no looking for happiness in someone else. It's always about your happiness. You gotta understand the common denominator in all your failed relationships is you, right? And so you can make excuses about all the other ones about them, but obviously there's something in you that failed.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
I try to address that every time, right? I like feedback. I love a feedback loop, and it's a weird thing about men where we tend not to try to get a lot of feedback. Or if we do try to open up to a woman, they've been known to weaponize that against us, right? And it's like,
100%. You don't ever show a woman like your real emotions. You tuck that shit in. You put it in deep.
right, because
Inside it,
there's
and
a
you hold
trust.
on to it, and when it gets too much, you just go and handle your shit somewhere for a couple minutes, and then get back to reality.
There's a trust level there that has to happen, and I think that's the maturity of both the men and the women in the relationship, right?
No, I
If
just.
we both value that in each other, that if we work and help each other out, that we're all stronger together, right? And any two people can be much stronger than an individual on their own, and that goes with not just relationships with a family, but even amongst friends too, right? And, I've tried to do the best I can to maintain my friendships with people, and we're all better together, right?
Doing a
This
good job.
podcast would be better with the three of us here than just me just standing here rambling on. But, you know, counterpoint me, tell me I'm doing something wrong, and I'll hear you out. I like that exchange.
You would like that exchange in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I need to be able to trust that person that she's not gonna like turn around and stab me in the back with that, because that happens too.
Do you guys, I mean, do you feel like, say you're in a relationship or you're married or whatever with a girl, you know, you have to at some point, you know, accept and constructive criticism. You might have a fault or you might be struggling with something, and you may not even realize it, but the one you're with should be able to point out, or vice versa. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if I had a girlfriend and I saw she was struggling or had a weak spot, I should be able to, you know, give constructive criticism out of love and respect, not because I'm trying to put someone down, but it should be a give and take with that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need to, there needs to be a good level of understanding with each other, trust. That's a hard thing to come up with, and I think the lack of maturity in people this day and age, and it goes all up to people older than myself, and it's everyone, it seems like, and it seems like it gets worse as it does get younger, in general, not for everyone, but you gotta be mature, you have to be able to handle that kind of criticism and take it constructively and move forward with it. and it's a growth mindset that people need to have. And you need to have that at any age. You don't just get a certain age like, I'm good to go, I know everything, and that's where you tend to shut down. And I try to keep my brain as healthy and plastic as possible, learning new things all the time.
Yeah, well, I think,
I need to find someone that can do that, and I think we can
there's
learn
an
to grow
old
together.
saying, is great friends make for great lovers. Good friends make for great lovers. And I agree with that.
What are you saying?
Hey, girl, you had too many beers, man. I haven't had
And now we end the podcast.
I haven't had enough. But yeah, no, you gotta, it's like, you gotta be best friends with your lover too. Or at least I feel. You know, because you're gonna care. Like, you actually care
You're
about
gonna spend the most time with
your friend's feelings and shit, right? It's like, you're not gonna cheat, not because you don't want to, but because you don't want to hurt your significant other, because you care about them. Like, that's all gone out the window. Yeah, sex sells, it always has. Since 2,000 years ago there was prostitutes. 5,000 years ago there was fucking prostitutes. It
The
doesn't
world's oldest
matter.
profession, right? So
Yeah.
it's much older than that.
Yeah.
I say sex sells, but the market looks kind of depleted at the moment.
No matter what it does, but it's like that, it's like fucking to bust a nut or fucking to love. You know, what's better? Not to bring this sexual, but it is, part of a relationship.
Keep it up,
as
we're
well.
gonna need a partner.
That's part of a relationship as well, and
Yeah.
everybody's just out here to fucking bust a nut. Nobody's out here to love, and
It's all about
part of
love.
it. So they cheat. All y'all's red faces. We can't talk about sex on
Come
camera.
on, man, I'm getting all embarrassed here.
We're pretty blunt here on Pub Wisdom.
Very blunt. It might be the Irish in me that the skin's flushing anyway. Hey.
Hey, they said the Irish are better than the Scottish. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Sure.
So I'm mostly German. You said you're Irish.
German and Irish.
I'm 7/8 German, 1/8 Irish, or something like that, because of the family dynamics. But
Yeah, genetics is an interesting subject. I break it down that way too. I'm basically 3/4 German, 1/4 Irish. But
This isn't your dating profile.
the
It's the podcast.
Hey, you know what? Goddamn German Irish drinking machine.
Runs on alcohol.
put that on your dating profile. I run an alcohol. It's on Zusk, Match.com, and eHarmony.
I'm a bit like Bender from Futurama. If I don't have a little of this in my system, shit don't work right.
You say Bender, I think of Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Staying clean.
We're almost ready for a commercial break.
Yeah.
And a word from our sponsors right here.
Bells. Quite right.
Step it up, boys. We need that sponsorship.
Got Blue Moon.
I want to get some microphones.
Blue Moon,
and some
England,
better
and
lighting.
Quite Bright. 3 quality beers, personal opinion.
All right, I think we need some refills, guys. We ready for a short break? What was that?
Oh God, it hurts to laugh. Come on.
Oh, Dane's still in pain.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I ain't drinking. Take one.
You know, on Pub Wisdom, I've learned I'm getting older. But what I've also learned is, if you don't want to feel old anymore, just hang out with guys older than you. You'll always feel young.
Bring us pints of beer. Don't drink, you can live. Bring us pints of beer. We gonna drink now and here. Bring us pints of beer. Don't drink, you can live.
Hey, buddy. You okay? You're not looking so good.
What are you doing, Truman? Down the highway.
You gotta tell people when you're rolling.
Sorry. Did we say anything inappropriate? Did I give away my personal information?
Gonna start singing
I
songs.
can cut it out.
Gonna start singing songs with the word rolling in it, or roll.
Rolling.
Rolling a doobie.
That wasn't what I was getting at, but
No, it wasn't. It should have been.
Dan's too clean for us.
sorry, I'm not into the doobage, but I don't mind people doing it. I could care less. So.
Tell us about that.
What's the look on your face?
We're having one beer tonight. No, we're having a couple.
A couple
I
beers?
think we're having a couple beers tonight.
Yeah, just a couple.
Just a couple.
Yeah, it's almost never one beer when you say it.
That's pretty accurate.
If we go a little long, we'll get to a few beers. I don't know. We'll see. Funny stuff. Men, women, relationships, differences. You know, I don't even want to get into like some of the current politics around gender and stuff like that. But it's like people need to understand that what's worked for humanity for thousands of years is still relevant today. We are legacy hardware operating in this new technological environment, and we think we're so enlightened and beyond this, but what really ends up working is something very different, or something that's very old, right? You can talk to a woman, and my point of women not knowing what they want, and you can talk to a woman and she can give you a list of things that she wants in a man. And then next week she's dating someone completely different from that. Like, what happened there? I don't know, I just like him. Because you really didn't fucking know what you wanted. And I think a lot of women are like that, even the ones that think they know what they want. They end up falling for something completely different. And, they often say women think that men, looks don't matter. You know, and you can have a group of average guys in a bar and talking to some women, and Chris Hemsworth can walk in and like, oh.
Yeah.
They'll freak out. They'll start ovulating and go right after that man. But you know, he can
Start ovulating.
they'll want his babies. he can treat them like total garbage, and they'll still go after that. And it's like,
Yeah, no, looks definitely do matter, for sure.
and I can remember so many times growing up and seeing these scenarios over and over where women are complaining about the guy they're dating and treating him like crap, blah, blah, blah. Like, why don't you leave him? And then they're like, oh, maybe even get to the point where they're convinced about leaving the man. And then they come back the next day and you see him, oh, we're together, he loves me. I'm like, oh. So I think deep down, I think women tend not to know what they want in a man.
Well, it's so stupid. What it really is like pictures. Actually, this is fucking true, because I was talking to this girl, or not like talking to her, but just communicating with her as like friends and shit, you know. And I always like went after her. I let her know I liked her a lot. And she wouldn't. And this back when I had the long hair and I was rugged and freaking, you know. And
Fabio.
and then she was looking at, she'd seen a picture of me on Facebook. My buddy takes professional photographs, and we were just at an event one day, and he took a picture of me, and it looked really good, you know.
Were you slinging your hair like coming out of the water?
No, it's back when I had shorter hair. But it was just a good photo, and she seen it, and it was weird because what I wanted her to get was out of my personality. That like I could tell right in her eyes. It was like she gave me a hug with her eyes, looking at a fucking photo of me. You know, it wasn't like you gave me a hug. You know what I mean? Because you didn't want to give enough time to learn my personality or my like outside of where I met her at. But you seen one picture of me and you're ovulating and fucking freaking out? What the fuck? Like that was gonna change your fucking mind? Really?
Tell us how you're
How about you get to know me? See what I can do for you, what I can provide for you, how much I can like truly love you. You know, I want to say what I can give you, but not in a monetary sense or a material sense. Like what can I give you? You know, emotionally, what can I give you structurally? What can I do for you to?
And you're thinking it logically. You're thinking logically like a man.
You know,
at that point, you're thinking logically like a man, right? You know what you want. You know what you can provide, right?
Can I make a pyramid? No kidding.
If we had cans, maybe. But I'm not going to recommend that in bottles.
No, it's a bad idea. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Crunch, all goes down. No, you're thinking it like a man. You're thinking it logically. You're thinking about, I've got X, Y, and Z. Why don't you like that? Because that's what we're supposed to have, right?
and then you see a professional photo of me.
Well, women are
ovulating. It's like you don't even get to know me. Dude.
Women are more emotional in that, right? They're more emotional thinkers, right? They want that feeling. And the one thing I've learned to key in on is like when they're questioning themselves and they're questioning whether or not they like a person or not. It's like I get down to the psychology of it. It's like, well, how do you feel when you're around that person? How does that person make you feel? And I'm not looking for happiness. I'm looking for just your general feelings, right? I mean, if you're putting all your happiness in someone else, then there's something wrong with that, right? So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I gave that speech at that college a while back when I said, like, don't tie your happiness to a person or a thing. You know, tie it to a goal, because a person can do you wrong. They can backstab you or cheat on you or hurt you. A material thing can break on you or not perform as it should or whatever, can still hurt you. But a goal can neither do neither of those. Okay? It will always stay with you. As much as you work for it, it'll work for you, you know. And that's kind of
You've
the
got the right
basis
kind
of
of
it.
goal in mind, yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Here we are in Pub Wisdom. We're solving the world's problems, one beer at a time.
Cheers.
And we're forgetting about it the next day. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
helps you in pain too, but
Dan's still nursing his injuries. I think our goal tonight is to make Dan split open.
Clear the table
literally
off.
busting out the seams.
Throw them on the table.
yeah, trust me, I do now when I go back underneath the knife.
Don't worry, Johnny Pat knows CPR.
I have an axe.
I've been certified for many beers now.
I have a sharp axe. Can lacerate you with it.
Viking surgery.
Trust him, he's pre-med.
Pre-law. What's the difference?
Oh boy, now we're gonna go down that rabbit trail.
Get me going quoting movies. I can be here all day.
Yes, Animal House.
Oh,
Still one of my all-time favorites.
One of the best.
You know, that's one of those movies that you know, if you're flipping through the channels on cable or something and it comes on, you already know you're gonna end up watching the whole thing.
That kind of thing doesn't happen anymore. I don't flip, I mean, I've cut the cord in cable and don't flip channels anymore. So now what I want to watch is in my control.
Oh, yeah.
And I largely go for things that interest me. So people are like talking about the latest binge-worthy show. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I spent time studying certain things. I mean, women and dating. This is one of the things I've actually spent time studying. It's like, well, honestly, Dan, you with your journalistic skills, I think you should, anything that's troubling you, you should use those skills and go down that rabbit hole and figure it out. I mean, you're actually better trained to do this than most of us. I'm using all the different things I've learned, you know, just trying to root cause analysis on things, just trying to get down to first principles thinking.
I just drank beer.
And that helps too.
That too.
We'll use the buffalo theory, just wipe out the weak brain cells.
No, but it does. It does. To go away from the topic of dating, you know, doing what I do, it does cause you to critically think about stuff. It does. It does force
An
me.
important skill.
It does force me to keep reading. Like you mentioned, when I had my surgery last week, use the time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple days there where I laid in bed all day at my laptop, and what was I doing? Reading articles, researching. I wasn't watching movies. I wasn't watching reruns. I was. Yeah, I took long naps because I felt
Healing.
I was healing, but I did spend several hours in a row just reading. And that's kind of the way I've always been. I've never been a big TV watcher. I like to read and I like to listen to music.
Well, I think that's a big, huge thing too, because it's very hard to exercise the brain. You can't do push-ups for the brain. So reading was always a way that your brain got some exercise, okay? And now that we've kind of taken away reading, really, out of our society, we don't really read that much no more.
No,
Everything reads a couple words.
everything's on the fingertips.
And I was never good. I was never like wanted to read a whole bunch of books and stuff. I've only read a handful of books, really. You know, I was always a visual person as well. You know, but it's like that was something that was kind of before technology. It was forced upon people.
Drifting away from our original subject, and I'm okay with that at this point. The whole idea of reading and learning, right? People tend to associate reading with learning. And yeah, that's a good way to learn. but it's not the best or most efficient.
I'm not saying about learning, I'm saying to exercise the brain.
Right, well, I mean, learning to me is exercising the brain.
Learning
Acquiring
is
is
exercising
But
the
you
brain,
should
too.
have a desire to learn about things.
Mhm.
And to tie that back into our original subject, yes, it would be nice to meet a girl that isn't a Barbie doll. You know, someone you're attracted to, but someone you could have a conversation.
I just want a girl with a fat ass that can twerk on me, okay?
My point
I just want a twerking girl that wants to be faithful, and she
That was a testosterone explosion.
she can do her TikTok shit.
Just come home to me and make me a sandwich
Come home, make a sandwich,
and bring me my beer.
give me a beer, and twerk on me. I'm happy.
I'll be
I'm
out in
happy
the
with it.
room, you know. I mean, but my point being, would you rather have a girl that you could have a conversation with about anything?
That should always be done. Like your lover should be your best friend. You know?
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you heard of friends like, hey, you know, 10, 20 years after married, I'm married to my best friend. I have
Yeah.
several friends like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, years later, they, whatever the case is, they're at whatever age,
Dude,
they
I-
realize they made the right choice.
I see it. After my grandfather passed, my grandmother just withered away. She lost her best friend in the whole stinking world, and
That's
it
her
didn't
soulmate.
matter. They were together when they something like since they were 16 or something. Like they got married
She
when
didn't
they
know
were
it,
16.
and she didn't know anything
you know?
else. That was her.
Yeah.
That was her
And
better half.
she just like you know just kind of withered away and dwindled away a little bit there, and until it came to her passing, you know, and dude, that's that. I don't know. To me,
Cheers
that's
to your
that's the
grandparents for
epitome.
having the real deal.
That's the epitome for me of like a traditional style relationship. Like, you know, that's just the epitome of that for me.
I remember when I was growing up, my grandparents,
I want to be able to find
they were
somebody to love that
planning a
much.
50th anniversary when they were in a really bad car accident. I know they both lived for a few years after that, but I remember there was never a party. But I think back like, wow, they were married for 50-something years till my grandfather passed away, and then my grandmother died like 7 or 8 years later. But
Yeah.
how cool would that be to literally meet your soulmate? You get married once and you live that person till you pass away.
Yeah, no, that's a great feeling.
And
you
it
know what I
doesn't
mean?
seem like
But there is,
it doesn't seem like it happens that much anymore. More people get divorced, and instead of trying to go through the hard times together,
yeah.
and trying to figure a way to work out, someone bails and they get divorced, and
So like you can put that all into numbers and shit, because some people don't want that. Some people think it's much more cooler to meet a bunch of people throughout their lifetime of all different ranges and in different categories and stuff, you know? Some people think that that's cool, and that's fine with them too, you know what I mean? But to me, I like that traditional style. I want to hold somebody there. I want to know that they're with me for a long time, you know what I mean? And
A lot of good-
through thick and thin, you know?
A lot of good points you're bringing up, and the one thing that actually brought me to the title of the podcast, Pub Wisdom, was I think it was a stupid beer commercial years ago. It was actually like all these little quirky little things. A guy called Pub Wisdom, and the one that stuck out to me was the perfect relationship. What was a perfect relationship? And it was actually a pretty cool story that he laid out, because the short part of it is, he goes, sometimes a perfect relationship is one night long. It's not what he meant in it, but it's kind of funny that sometimes a perfect relationship, you know, you meet someone, you talk to them, you have an amazing night, and then you go away, and then that was it. But it was a relationship for that night. You talk to that person, you talk to anyone else, and you had a great time, and it went away, and it was over with at that point. I think the long-term relationship that we were talking about, the one where you just grow old together and you've worked at it all along, I think there's a certain component to that where those two people were just that compatible. I guarantee when you talk to them, their fights were very, very limited, and they had quick understandings, right?
And I'm sure there were arguments or fights too.
Always, there always will be.
Yeah, they're always, it's good for a
If there's no
relationship.
arguments, then someone's just too controlling and the other one's too docile.
Yeah.
But that's also a relationship that can work out for some people. I don't condone it. I wouldn't want it. I like feedback, like I was saying earlier. If I'm doing something wrong, let me know, and then I'll adjust.
But you can,
But I expect the same.
as a human being, you're a person that can accept constructive criticism. So if a girl you're dating or one of your friends or someone, a family member, gives you some advice, instead of getting all mad and stomping away, you evaluate from the inside and realize, well, wait a minute, this person said something, and I guess maybe they're right.
How can I move? How can I make myself better?
How can I go forward from this point on and concentrate on making myself better in that whatever area that it is?
But even before accepting that, is it good? Is it constructive? I gotta evaluate those as well, because there's those types of people out there that can build you up and tear you down, build you up and tear you down, and caught in those roller coasters before, and I don't ever want to be in that again. There's people that can make you feel flat out amazing one day, and then they can tear you down the next, and it sucks because you start to wonder about these people. It's like, are they bipolar? Are they? I mean, I feel like I'm being treated by two different people. So yeah, you gotta weed out the crazy ones. You gotta yeah. And there was something I can honestly say there was probably something going on with that person, but I don't want to get fully into that. But I do want to say that sometimes imperfect relationships run their course, and maybe they'll last a few years, and then maybe those two people, as long as they just decide to move on together and keep it reasonable, which doesn't happen very often. They get ugly, and they get money involved, and they tear each other up.
I read an article about that, and it makes so much sense. Okay, so when women get in fights, well, they're smaller. They don't use physical force to fight their fights like men do. Okay, they use other ways to release their frustration. Whether it be psychological or anything else. So you have to understand that as well, right? Like women don't fight their fights physically.
They're better at psychological warfare.
Yeah, they use psychological warfare.
They use words like fine.
and you know what I mean? Because
That's a scary word. When a girl says fine, you're like, oh boy.
And they get real quiet.
and that makes complete sense to me. Like a woman can't fight a man, really. You know what I mean? Although there is women out there that'll fucking beat the shit out of men. Like male abuse does happen, but
You take one bell curve of male strength and female bell curve, and there's an overlap. But the majority of men will always beat the majority of women. Yeah, there's overlap out there. Best female fighters will still
I've seen the small ass women go up and smack their big ass boyfriends. Bitch, get the fucking car. Or whatever the hell. I've seen that, So it's not like, I don't think it's a size or anything. It's like an
But if you turned around and thumped her, it'd be over with. I mean, just that aspect.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's accepting that at that point.
Yeah, but women still typically don't use physical violence to release their frustration. They use more, psychological or whatever other ways. I can't remember off the article I was reading, but yeah, it was a good one. And it made so much sense to me. It's like, yeah, women do that. They fucking troll you, they fuck with you, they make fun of you.
There's also
They say like mean things to you just to get you riled up.
part of what we're experiencing overall.
You got a little dick, bitch. Get over here.
Wait, get that on video.
Get over here and make me that sandwich. Damn it.
Wait.
You're the drummer. We need to get down like a little Hello Kitty drum set.
Wisdom.
We could scale up to a very big conversation that something I looked into. I want to say it's the Universe 25 experiment, and it's I could be getting wrong on the number. I'll look it up and I'll correct myself, but I want to say it's the Universe 25 experiment where they took a closed system and gave a breeding group of mice everything they needed and no predators. And they watched this generation after generation. They watched weird things happen and go wrong. And they repeated this experiment over and over again from probably the late 60s to the early 80s, I think.
I read this one.
And the weird things that were going on with like effeminate males and overly aggressive females, and then these really nasty, aggressive, super alpha males, and there's all kinds of weird dynamics going on. But the scenario kept playing itself out the same way every time. it's a closed system, they're 100% safe, there's no predators, there's nothing going on, but those weird oddities go on, and I often look at the fact that we live in a very, very safe society. Dr. Steven Pinker wrote a book about it. It's talking about how safe we are in a society, and every generation has seen less and less violence, man-on-man type violence, than the previous generation. And as a result, when you live in a safe society, you're more free to act out in weird, stupid ways. And that type of thing happens. And women tend to be a little bit more...
Fully agree.
Right. And men, we don't have a reason to step up and be aggressive anymore. We're almost told not to, right?
Yeah.
And we tend to fall back. And then women don't like that, and they start stepping up in some cases. And you start seeing some of these weird things that we're seeing in society today. That experiment has shown there's weird things that are going on today that are very similar to that experiment. There are ways out of that. We're not in a perfectly safe society. We're not a perfectly closed loop. So there are things that are different. However, we're mammals. We don't have any natural predators. When's the last time you know someone got picked off by a tiger?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen anymore. I mean, some
Yeah,
giant bird out of the sky picked one of us off. Well,
we live in Michigan, so it's not like we're gonna have that kind of stuff.
we don't even have natural disasters here. I mean, it's pretty nice here year round. A little cold in the wintertime, a little too
We're
hot.
not like in Africa where people get killed by lions and massive crocodiles all the time. We don't
Well, in
have
Africa-
that here.
Or hippos.
Yeah, and it's true.
More than crocodiles. But
Africa's so big, there's other parts that literally have free food all around them, where they just pick apples off a tree, you know, oranges off a tree, and they live a very comfortable life that way.
But overall, especially in the United States, where we're seeing a lot of these weird issues, and I guarantee you're not going to see the same social issues in an area where there's still more struggles, right? They're going to be a little bit more tribal. They're going to be a little bit more old-fashioned.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, because when bad things happen, and here comes somebody that now fixes that situation, what does that breed? It breeds appreciation.
It should.
And so you learn to be appreciative. Now, if there's no struggles, then you don't have to appreciate fucking nobody. You don't have to appreciate the things that happens. And that, I think
then you tend to criticize
I think
the
we're
ones
getting
that are.
somewhere. I think we're getting somewhere.
We're on to something.
In this fucking matrix here. I think this is the answer to all our fucking problems. Listen.
We're going through the matrix, but we're on the right path.
That's exactly what it is.
Are you Neo?
And I'd take the blue pill. Just send me back. Let me hack it.
Red pill, blue pill. I say fuck it. Take the little purple pill.
Beer pill?
Let's take the beer pill, right?
They are,
Okay, but yeah, no, let's think about that, because then now you put in what we were talking about before, social media. So now you're right. There's no predators. There's no fucking prey, really. There's no like limited shit going
We've
on.
got abundant resources, right? And we have no worries, right, in that sense. Our worries go toward other things. We have parts of our brain that still look for danger, but it's just looking for danger in more and more minute situations, right?
Yeah, and it's just gonna make you less appreciative of your man for the things that he does.
So the things that he's
Overall,
capable of,
that's
right?
where I'm getting at. That's where I'm going with it. It's like now, it's because he fixed your car, you're just like, thank you, babe. In reality, it should be like, damn, thank you, baby. I fucking love you for this. Thank you.
So why for a second?
No, I like this.
Well, I was going to do a word of our sponsor.
You're working? Okay.
We got a row here. It's subliminal advertising. Sorry. Go ahead. Back to your soapbox.
But yeah,
He likes to collect bottles, right?
I'm not really OCD. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to set these up as.
Well, if you were, they'd be in a perfect row.
Yeah, well, they're clearly not in a perfect row. They're staggered.
maybe a perfect height too. There's one that's short.
We're recording now. So, other than Dan's OCD, I think Johnny Pat was.
Here, I'll stagger you so I'm not.
He was
OCD.
onto something. You remember? We need to recap on what you were onto to kind of to get us back on the road here.
Yeah. Well, it's something you said that sparked it all up.
Oh, great. I forgot what
Nice
I said.
going.
Go ahead and tell us. No, it was the matrix of shit. right? Like,
I see through
like
the
how
lens.
how to be less appreciative of your man for the things that they do, or your woman for the things that they do. You know, just because you get to go on Facebook and you see women twerking doesn't mean you get to be less appreciative of your wife at home, you know, or your woman at home rather, or your significant other, whatever it may be. And, you know, I think it really is doing that to people, you know. Like I said, you know, like freaking
It sets
grandma
comparisons.
didn't even know how to pump her gas. That's how much this motherfucker loved his woman. He wouldn't let her do nothing by herself, or nothing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. There's
That was top objective priority. There was nothing above it.
there's grandparents that the grandma never even learned how to drive because she didn't
Yeah.
need to. He just drove her everywhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there's things like
No.
that. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and
you're
there's
not-
still people like yourself that want that long-term relationship. That's great. That's ideal. And I'm at a point where, yeah, I want that, but I want it to be right.
And I'm sure in fights it was a little crazy, and it was like, no, bitch, I'm driving. Sit the fuck down and shut up. You're not gonna learn to drive today. You're not learning how to drive today.
And that's the reason why we're saying, let's
Sit the fuck down.
that.
Okay?
me a sandwich. Give me a beer. I'm driving. Oh, wait a minute. Feedback, constructive criticism is welcome.
Yeah, as the girls scold our profiles one by one, not this guy, not this guy,
I'm
not
just
this guy.
saying, you wanna make it like as,
We're all single, by the way.
Yeah.
like in reality,
I'll put it right up there, like I'm looking for a sandwich maker, I don't think that's gonna go very far though, you know?
Hey, she might work at Subway. She
Might
can
go
see her
far,
driving
yeah.
straight.
Wait.
You know? But I think that's where we was headed, somewhere in that direction. That vicinity.
I could talking about the Matrix, it could drift into a whole other topic where, once again, going back to Plato's Republic, it's like the allegory of the cave is actually, the Matrix is like a retelling of the allegory of the cave in a modern format.
Yeah.
2,400 years ago, once again, talking about the same things. Waking up out of a reality, realizing things are different than what you're actually doing. And
Yeah.
there's a lot to be learned from that. And, it's really cool. It's also a reason why one of the things is that movie's so profound to this day. It really makes you think about that kind of stuff to the point where people are wondering, are we living in a simulation? But I don't know. So
Like I said, I think it all really comes back. I think we really hit the nail on that one. Just me personally, I believe that, you know, not to say that it belongs to anybody else, but the appreciation thing, you know, because it's like nobody does shit for me. So when, you know, I meet a girl and I take her home and she wants to make me dinner, it's almost instinct for me to be like, no, sit down, let me do this, okay? You know, and then when I finally meet a woman to like argue me and be like, no, relax, Pat. Relax, watch your TV and stuff, let me make you some dinner. And it's like, damn, I really appreciate this woman.
ladies,
That
any
is,
tips?
that is so nice of you to do that for me. And
That's honestly a little thing because
If you genuinely appreciate
it's a little thing. It's a half hour out of your time,
yeah.
of your day, and it's not much. But you know what it meant to me? You wanted to feed me. You wanted to comfort me.
I've had a
You
couple
wanted
girlfriends
me,
or dates where they
you know.
cook me dinner and I was very appreciative.
Oh man, it's like, you know, I want to suck your toes after.
Okay, we'll wrap this one up.
I'm just kidding.
With that, no.
That's an analogy for just saying.
Coming out of left field.
I'll do the grossest shit for you after you do something super nice for me.
Coming up next on Pub Wisdom, Johnny Pat tells some great sex stories and Dan gets embarrassed.
But now, a word from our sponsor.
Come on, guys. Great content here. Oh, it's your product that makes us talk like this. Shit, I think I just blew it there.
Shit! We're just kidding, Bells.
We'll edit that part.
So, as we enter the holiday season,
Merry Christmas to all and to all the good days.
Absolutely.
I can't toast, man. I
I wish you guys happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And hope you meet a girl this holiday season. That's all best I can do.
Sandwich maker?
All I know is I got a new belt that's got a mistletoe as a buckle.
Oh shit. Not bad. Not bad. Shit.
I'm out. Woof. We have to edit that one too, man. I'm blown.
Listen, we're gonna fly edit.
I'm doing it.
We're gonna figure shit out.
Ugly Christmas sweater? Screw that. That's what I'm wearing to work.
You're ugly enough.
Thank you.
You're right.
It's constructive, and I'm gonna work on myself.
So am I. So I don't even need to wear the ugly sweater. I'm all set.
Here we go. I think we need to pause for a beer and then a wrap up, right, guys?
Yeah, I'm all
All
set.
right.
Yeah, no, for sure. We gotta wrap this shit up. It's been
I'm hungry. I need to get
Wrap it up like a condom. Up next. Hi there, I'm Michael Myers. I know I don't usually talk too much, but today I want to give you guys some advice on dating. See, you gotta do what I do. Just keep chasing them until they fall for you.
I'm hungry.
Alright, so what did we learn on Pub Wisdom today? So far, learned that Johnny Pat's got a kink for toes.
No, it's a joke.
If we make Dan laugh too hard, he splits open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's good with you though, huh?
Yeah,
Everything's good with you.
Ain't nothing wrong with me. I've worked on myself well enough that
He's got
I'm
the
perfect.
model profile, I guess. I guess we try to emulate Jason.
I'm a model, idiot.
Oh shit. No, I don't know, you know.
Is there really anything wrong with being really, really, really ridiculously good looking?
No,
Like
no,
me?
there is not. There's not nothing wrong with it. In fact, 1, 2, 3 hottest woman in the world.
Like, oh,
No.
I'm not tracking.
Right now?
Anyone.
I think Rachel McAdams or Amy Adams would qualify in my department.
Cute.
Yeah.
You remember Rachel McAdams in the Wedding Crashers?
Oh, yeah.
The my, oh my, oh my.
Yeah.
Or Amy Adams in one for the Curve, or whatever that was, the baseball movie. With,
I haven't seen that one, but she's, yeah, I know she is.
She
She's
was
cute.
so cute in that movie.
No, the first one you're talking about, she's, yeah, very cute. I gotta go now.
Yeah, it's your turn.
So many minds going.
It's Wonder Woman, I already know.
All time hottest?
All time.
Linda Carter.
All time.
Oh my god.
Yup.
Oh
I
God,
knew it.
Linda
I
Carter,
knew it.
like late 70s, early 80s, when she
Yeah.
was in Maybelline commercials, the Superwoman. Oh.
Dude, she's still good looking now.
She's like 75, and she's still got those eyes. It's like, whoa,
Yeah, she's got those eyes that are great, you know. Like,
mesmerized me. In a
sorry, you.
trance.
Hit me with your truth whip.
Since you brought up the question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's that girl from, she has a TV show, Two Broke Girls. Kat
Dennings?
Dennings.
Oh, she's cute.
Oh my god. I don't know why.
See, we've fallen all the way down to the small minds part right now, but that's okay. After a few beers, it tends to happen. We started high and we're working our way down.
Well, you gotta, you know, I think the greatest of minds talk about everything. Not just
Hey.
one category.
Johnny Pat just dropped down some wisdom on all of us here.
Yes, I'm going to be in deep thought the rest of the evening and tomorrow.
Move over, Socrates. Johnny Pat just added
Get your
tears.
fuck out of my way!
Socrates in the
Get
house.
out of my way and get me another beer.
Heard of that guy?
I'm gonna figure this shit out.
He's a moron.
He's playing a good drunk guy. Like, lift through here, officer.
Well,
I'm
isn't
fine, thank you.
Isn't it Plato was Socrates' student?
Yes.
And they have completely opposite philosophies. Or I know that they fought a lot, or they interjected with each other a lot on the same topics with different beliefs.
As I'm reading, Plato's Republic, I'm kind of like getting a lot of that, but a lot of it was what Plato wrote about Socrates and the dialogues he had, and so yeah, I'm getting there. I'll get to that, and I'll make myself a little smarter from that. But yeah, I think it's about time to wrap it up.
Cheers, mates.
A good fun discussion.
Cheers.
I think we all know our types now.
Yes, Rachel McAdams, I'm still available.
Linda Carter, I heard you're single recently. Her husband died.
Is her profile up on grannies.com or no?
She's a hot grandma. It's still her, and like she can still wear the outfit.
I think when I was a little kid, her and what's her name from Charlie's Angels?
Charlize Theron?
No, the original Charlie's Angels.
The Burnett in the late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Oh my. What was her name?
Was it the blonde? Wasn't Farrah Fawcett the blonde? Or was it? No, not Farrah
No, I
Fawcett.
said the Burnett.
I'm thinking about the blonde now.
Alright, listen, old
I get
heads.
this.
Nobody knows what you guys are talking about. Just gonna watch.
Hey, young guy, Google it, right?
Yeah. Sorry you weren't alive for
Just
this.
because we grew up with these.
Sorry.
Gosh, these women are old enough to be our mothers, but no, it's between Linda Carter and Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers. Those are the ones we grew up to.
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
my God, there's a word I haven't heard.
You know what though? I rewatched the '80s Buck Rogers. I even tried to get my daughters to watch it, which is kind of funny. And they were like, "Ew, cringy," but it's like, you know what? Even cooler than Han Solo. Gil Gerard's Buck Rogers was there, man. He was the coolest guy in outer space.
Now I'm thinking about like in 1980, like when the Black Hole movie came out. The Black Hole. Well, yeah, you can take that in another direction.
Are we talking about the Disney movie or
the movie? It came out like 1980. Sorry.
You've been looking at my web history?
All right, I think we need to wrap it up.
Cheers. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that good
Merry
stuff.
Christmas.
And thank you for watching Pub Wisdom. Until next time, guys. Perfect, guys.
Every day, baby, when the sun go down, I give her my friends and I begin to clown. 'Cause I don't care what the people are thinking. I ain't drunk, I'm just drinking. But you're so high. Oh man, you know I ain't high. But you're so high. Yeah, well I just take a little sip every now and then. But you're so high. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Oh, come on now, you all don't feel like that. Come home last night, all a lush. They begin to fuss. I said, honey, hush. 'Cause I don't care what the people are thinking. I ain't drunk,